One necessary factor, then, as we would find, would be in creating more oxygen, as released in the system. As to revivify the activity of the circulations, blood supply, in their relationship to the organs that function not only for the creating of necessary plasm for giving physical reaction in the body, in life forces, but that will aid in strengthening the resistances in the system. There is a river this, as we find, may be materially aided by the addition of small quantities of carbonated or carbon ash in the system. Tem. Give 1/8 grain each day. And to produce or make a better reactivity of same 30 minutes after the dose is given, we would apply the plain violet ray vibrations over the portions of the body where assimilations would be created for the activity of the ash to the blood supply. Hence, it would be applied over the upper dorsal and cervical area, or the cardiac and secondary cardiac area. Then it would be applied from the 9th and 10th dorsal area to the 3rd and 4th lumbar area. We would also find that it would be most beneficial in supplying the necessary vitality to add the active forces of low electrical vibrations that will carry into the system elements to create a better coordination in the nerve impulses to the system that add to the sustaining forces in the activity of the glands themselves. These we would give in the wet cell battery formation, using those anodes that carry medical properties through the low vibration into the system, in 3 characters, that would be given in rotation. Day by day, one would carry the chloride of gold solution in attaching the battery to the body for this particular activity. We would attach first the anode without the medicinal proper ties to the body at the 3rd and 4th dorsal segment or plexus of the system. The larger plate carrying the gold solution would be attached to the plexus over the umbilical center, but more over the lacteal ducts or glands. The period of application would be for 30 minutes. The next day use a different connection but the same battery. The same plain or positive connection would be attached at the base of the brain, and the other carrying spirits of camphor would be attached to the 4th lumbar. There is a river plexus area. This would be applied for a period of 30 minutes also. The next day use a different solution. The first anode would be attached to the center entering into the stomach itself, or the cardiac center of the stomach, and the other plate or anode, carrying atomidine in solution, would be attached at the 9th dorsal plexus, or that which distributes through the whole of solar plexus area. Apply this for 30 minutes. Then begin over again. We would use a massage every other day, with a point combined in this manner, or put together in the order given. To 2 ounces of cocoa butter, put in solution, and while still warm, add Russian white oil 1 ounce, sassafras oil 1 ounce, witch hazel 1 ounce. This will only partially solidify and should be stirred thoroughly each time before it is massaged into the spine. Esp. Chaye massage it along those portions where the tired, achy feelings have come to the body from the bed, or over the portions in the lumbar and solar plexus area, and in the brachial area, and especially from 4th and 5th cervical to the base of the brain. In the matter of the diet, keep much in the way and manner that has been outlined, when necessary. Continue with the medicinal properties that rest, or keep the body quiet to make rest. See, eat the eliminations are kept as near normal as possible. And in 30 days from the beginning of these treatments we would give further instructions. Q. What part of present treatment should be continued or left off? There is a river A as just given. Continue when necessary the ministra. Tie on of properties that make for quietness to the body, of course, reducing as much as possible as improvements be. Gin, the bromides that affect the mental activities. 4. The properties that we have given here, as indicated, are to make use of the physical resistances that still exist in the circulation and to make response from all functioning organs and assimilation and distribution of that assimilated for recuperative forces in the body. These in low electrical form will aid. The addition of the ash is to relieve the pressure on the general system and revivify the blood supply, and the active ity of the violet ray, given for 15 to 20 minutes over dose portions indicated, 30 minutes after the ash is taken, is only to make the effective activity of the ash of carbon in the system. The properties given through the battery formations are resuscitating forces to the organs and the glands of same, in the respective portions of the body, as they are applied, through the low electrical form, to sustain and revivify the body. The massage of certain portions of the body, as given, is only to relax and make better coordination in the cerebrospinal, sympathetic and sensory systems. The mind will be much better. Let thy body itself know the source from which these treatments are instructed, and what is to be accomplished by each. Ktaiha Readings. Second reading, September 15, 1933, continued same treat. Ments. Report from friend of family on October 12, 1933, she was pretty bad off. But now she has improved quite a there is a river bit. Tomorrow she may be worse again. The family want another reading. Third reading, November 26, 1933, adjustments necessary in upper dorsal and cervical areas. Advised cutting down on bromides. Stop use of atomidine with appliance. Fourth reading, January 6, 1934, neuropathic massages, corrections in lumbar, sacral and coccyx areas. Begin again with atomidine solution. Fifth reading, February 15, 1934, keep eliminations open, enemas and properties to be taken. Use glycothymoline in water for enemas. Special massage to be given daily over lumbar, sacral, sciatic nerve and lower HMBS. Ingredients: olive oil, tincture of myrrh, Russian white oil, rub alco, whole, tincture of benzoin, and oil of sassafras. Alkaline diet. Begin to try to walk. Sixth reading, March 11, 1934. Emergency by wire as result of patients having heart attack. Setback due to over exertion. Keep body quiet. Stimulate superficial circulation. And give small doses of digital under doctor's directions. Continue other treatments. Seventh reading, July 17, 1934, more specific directions for corrections in lumbar and sacral areas. Letter from patient August 4, 1934, some day ere long. I will write Mr. Casey and personally tell him of my gratitude to him. Were it not for his readings or diagnosis and advice, I would now be either in an insane asylum or live Oak Cemetery. I am 1000% better, not 100%, and am looking forward with hope of walking again ere many months have passed. As above stated, I am greatly improved, yet I am far from being all right. It seems there is a river that about every 5 weeks I have an attack. Weeks pass before the effects wear away. The last one, which began June 10th, was shorter and of less severity. That at least is encouraging. Doctor says that so long as there are poisons in my body, these attacks will continue at intervals. Is that correct? Perhaps it is best to explain just how I am affected. Lightning-like flashes through the chest that end with stabbing pains in the heart. Also the left shoulder and arm pain. Very much. Nothing seems to reheave these paroxysms but hypodermics of morphine. At these times my bowels and intestines are in a bad way. The nerves or muscles in my neck and in other parts of my body are so tense that I cannot move myself, and what distresses me more than anything are my limbs. They become rigid and I cannot lift my feet even a fraction of an inch. Also the hips become angry and inflamed. After reading all this, you will no doubt wonder in what way I have improved. Thank heavens that condition does not continue indefinitely. Most of the trouble gradually wears away until the next attack, and though not entirely free of pain, I am fairly comfortable. At present I sit up an hour and a half each morning and again late in the afternoon. My limbs move slowly now and I can partly raise up in the chair by holding on to the arms. Each day I do a little more. Letter from patient April 3, 1935. Strength is slowly returning and I walk a few steps each day that I am well enough to do so. I also sit up about 3 hours a day. Will I ever be able to sit up hours at a time? My lower back, hips, and buttocks cause me much agony. At times I am comfortable and then again these places become red and swell in MNPS, bum and throb like boils. The angina attacks are less severe and less frequent. There is a river. In the matter of the diet, be mindful that there is a continuation of the adherence to an alkaline reacting diet. In general, beware, for this body, of these things, great quantities of starches. But if quantities of same are taken, as with spaghetti or potatoes or breads that carry same, do not take carbohydrates or sugars at the same time. Hence beware of pastries or tarts, though any of these in moderation may be at times taken. Let the greater portion of food be those things that are non-acid producing for the system. Strengthening foods such as beef juices, or the extracts of liver, or the extracts from the caseins of the internal organs, of beef or the like. These are very good in moderation for the strengthening of that tendency for the separation in the lymph circulation produced by this deadening in the nerve. ends in these particular areas indicated. But these should be kept in moderation. No red meat, either beef or hog meat. No white breads. No apples raw, no bananas raw. Either of. These may be taken cooked, provided they are cooked with not too great a quantity of sugar. The sweetening that would be used would be preferably honey or saccharine. That may make for a variation in its reaction in the acetulations through the lacteals of the system that have had such an ordeal, as it were, in straining the vital forces from that assimilated. Letter from patient, August 5, 1935. First I will say that I am steadily improving, gaining in strength and weight. I am also making progress in walking. I walk from my bed to the front or back porch or across the hall, and sit up 3 to 3.5 hours each day. Several times a week. I am lifted into the car and enjoy a half-hour's ride. I have had 2 heart attacks since I'm 15. However, since I am stronger, I recover more rapidly. The last attack was not so severe as the others. Doctor's report, October 12, 1935. The physical readings. There is a river. Described the condition of this patient, and the suggestions were in my opinion suitable for the condition. The patient has been relieved from headaches, improved in appetite, note passing of inflammation of joints, gain in weight, control of angina, she learned to walk again, gained in strength, has better coordination of nerve. Patient's report, October 12, 1935, no pains in head. No heart attack for 3 months, the last ones less severe. Gained strength and weight. Appetite and digestion good. Lumps or nodules on hips and buttocks disappeared. Can now sit up 4 hours a day and walk without assistance. From one room to another. Mental condition normal. After this last report from her, JHT lived 7 more active years of usefulness with her family. Eye injury late in the afternoon of October 25, 1935, RK, a 5-year-old boy, stuck a pair of scissors in his right eye. His mother found him sitting on the bedroom floor of their New York City apartment, crying. The child was immediately taken to a physician who examined the injury and stated that the cornea had been punctured. An injection for tetanus was given and an operation performed to sew up the puncture. This operation was performed in the Manhattan Eye, Ear, and Throat Hospital by a well-known physician. First reading on the day following the accident, a reading was secured from Mr. Casey. As we find, while great changes have come about in the body since last we had same here, the acute or specific conditions in the eye are being well cared for. From present indications, there should not be any bad results or effects, either to the vision or to the appearance of same. There's just the necessity, then, for precautions as to infectious forces from the natural accumulations of tissue that may be said to be repair tissue in the system, and that there be no cold or congestion allowed to make for disturbing conditions in the body. Thus we should find that in just a few weeks there should be near normalcy in these directions. There is a river in the general physical forces, as we have indicated. There have been those tendencies for the lack of sufficient red blood cellular force, or a tendency towards anemia, yet these conditions have in a greater part been met through those recent activities of the body in the open. We would, Tybin, continue only those things that are indicated for keeping a nominal balance in the present, keep-ing the diets in that manner of body and blood building, as is indicated, and as has been outlined. Thus the body should grow, develop, in a normal, nominal manner. Q. What is the extent of the injury to the eye? A. As indicated, from the manner in which it has been cared for, this should not extend to any injury that would be even noticeable after a normal development. The injury was to the iris portion that has only been punctured in the first and second film. Hence, unless other conditions arise than are indicated in the present, it should not make for even any injury. Further developments. In the weeks immediately following the operation, a white tissue covered the eye. The doctor advised another operation to remove this growth. On November 18, 1935, another reading was secured. Extracts from this reading follow. As we find, there need be only those precautions, those cares taken in the administration of the cleansing solutions for the eye, yet that there may be, with the absorptions from the general circulation, the removal of those tendencies for scar tissue to become permanent, or to produce upon the retinae a circulation that will produce greater eliminations. And we would find that this may be best done not only with the wash and the precautions and protections from there is a river glass, Widdy is being used, and is very good, but with manipulations osteopathically given. Diet may be had through the administrations of one in accord with those influences for the body itself. And we would find that in this manner the system would not only concur in reproducing those cellular forces necessary to overcome the injured portions, but there would be other conditions materially aided through disturbances that have been existent in the system by the lack of the ministrations of cellular forces through the circulation. These osteopathic manipulatic carrot given once a week would be most helpful. Keep the diets that have been indicated for the body. Q. The second doctor says the lens was punctured. Is it so? A. We find, as given, this was not punctured, but was only injured by the activity of the effect of the injury upon the other portions as indicated in the retina and in the cornea. Q. If not, why the cataract forming over the eye? A. If there are the applications made as indicated, those accumulations would be gradually absorbed and not form a cataract. This is not a true cataract as yet. It is merely the secretions, or the attempts of the system in its activity to protect injured portions. Now, there is the necessity of absorption through drainages, or stimulated circulation to the centers from which the eyes or optic forces receive their stimuli, in the upper dorsal and through the cervical area, which would remove these conditions, if they are done consistently and persistently, and not leave injuries to the eye. The doctors stated that these treatments would be a there is a river waste of time, but that no injury would result from delaying the operation. The child was taken regularly to an osteopath who followed the suggestions carefully. Within a few weeks the tissue over the eye began to break up and dissolved piece by piece, until the eye was almost entirely clear. On March 18, 1936, the following reading was secured: "As we find, there is much to be desired outwardly, yet the general physical reactions that are taking place are very good. There are improvements in many directions, and there should be some precautions taken in adding to the enzymes of the body, as we find, given under the direction of a physician. Ventricle with iron would provide much that would aid in the catabolism of the digestive and assimilating forces, and that would strengthen the blood supply for better reserve and better reaction through the physical forces of the body. In those conditions via the localized disturbance in the eye, we find that the manipulative measures have been most beneficial. We would continue with these once or twice a week, or once a week for 1 week and twice a week next week, so that there are the drainages or accumulations continuing to be thrown off, and will be absorbed if there is kept the proper mema of circulation through the way in which the manipulative forces may not only aid in the drainage but in stimulating the circulation to the affected parts. When in strong light there should be used, to be sure, the glasses that would shade or protect the eye, or both eyes, for that matter. Either the smoked or the rose glass would be preferable to brown or other shades. On May 29, 1936, a reading recommended that electrical treatments be given directly to the eyeball. Such treatments were given. There is a river. The child's mother reports the following results. The pupil has been restored to an almost even roundness. There is a acute, barely visible scar. The eye responds to light reflexes. With proper lens the eye may now be used for reading. Adcock, Joe, 164. American Psychic Society, 180. American Society of Clinical Research, 5, 176. Andrews, P.A. 137. Aphonia, 111 to 123, 126 to 128, 132, 140 to 141, 144 to 145, 208. Appendicitis, 171 to 174, 207, 211, 287, 290. Association for Research and E.N. Enlightenment, 320 to 322, 325 to 332, 349 to 350, 352 to 360. Readings on 352 to 353. Religions of members, 350. Association of National Investigators, the 276 to 277, 279, 309, 311, 316. Barnes, Tom, 150 to 151. Bassett, Dr. Frank, 129. Baths, see hydrotherapy reading of 22, 24, 41, 43 to 45, 70, 72, 184 to 185, 358. Baizi, Dr. Sunker, 289 to 290. Blackburn, Dr. James, 131, 141, 143. Blackburn, Dr. John, 131, 141 to 146, 149 to 161, 163, 182, 212. Blumenthal, Morton Harry, 268, 269, 273 to 274, 276 to 277, 280, 282, 303 to 305, 307 to 309, 311 to 316, 326. Bonfils, A.C. 226. Bowling Green, Kentucky, 129 to 133, 136, 140 to 146, 149 to 165, 169 to 170. Description of 129 to 130. Brackey, Franklin F. 277, 283. Brown, Dr. Manning, 117 to 118. Brown, Thomas B. 267, 277, 283. Brown, Dr. W. I. Mosley, 279, 282 to 286, 307 to 311, 316, 318, 320. Callaway, Dr. Eugene, 202 to 205. Cancer, 287. Casey, Annie, sister of Edgar. Casey, 94, 103, 119, 139, 309. Casey, Edgar, as salesman and insurance agent, 111. Attitude toward his psychic POW. Ers, 124 to 128, 132 to 133, 137, 143, 165 to 166, 169 to 170, 179 to 184, 191, 233, 235, 242 to 243, 246 to 254, 277, 319 to 320, 348 to 349. Bookstore experience, 8, 69, 76. 78, 85, 105 to 107. Boyhood, 18 to 20, 22 to 23, 32 to 68. Church activities, 17, 41-inch carat. First partnership to sell readings, 180, 185 to 189, 199 to 200. Last year's, 345 to 359. Lectures, 227, 304 to 305. Legal difficulties, 322 to 325, 343. Love and Marriage, 78 to 86, 88 to 89, 93, 102, 104, 108 to 111, 113, 128, 134, 139 to 140. Oil well experience, 219 to 226. Power to cure discovered, 121. 127. Religious fervor, 17, 22 to 24, 88, 102, 114, 183 to 184, 235, 242. 243, 251 to 254, 306. Talks with Dwight Moody, 69 to 75. Throat trouble, 111 to 123, 126 to 128, 132, 140 to 141, 144 to 145, 208. Visions of 45-carat, 64 to 65, 68. 97. Work for Association for Research and Enlightenment, 325 to 332, 349 to 360. Casey, Edgar Evans, son of Edgar. Casey, 215, 224, 228, 234, 266, 274, 283, 357, 358. Casey, Gertrude Evans, Mrs. Edgar. Casey, 8, 11 to 13, 191, 224, 257, 272, 281, 283, 313, 355, 356. Aid to Edgar, 132, 170, 205, 225, 269, 303, 317, 323 to 325, 334. Attitude toward readings, 128, 192, 197, 262, 291. Birth of Son, 163 to 168. Cured of tuberculosis, 192 to 197, 199. Death, 359. Family, 90 to 94. Boyhood, 12 to 14, 165, 190, 199, 218, 228 to 231, 274 to 275, 279, 282. Hijri. 202 to 207. Manager of Association for Research and Enlightenment, 327. 336, 340 to 341. War Service, 358. Casey, Leslie B. Father of Edgar. Casey, 38 to 39, 86, 102, 120, 139, 199, 275, 279, 357, 358. Association with Edgar, 5, 25 to 26, 127, 170 to 171, 174, 185, 198, 217 to 218, 226 to 227, 312. Home of 41. Pride in Edgar, 51 to 52, 124. Teacher of Edgar, 18 to 19. Casey, Mrs. Leslie B., mother of Edgar. Casey, 39, 94 to 95, 139, 180. Casey, Mary, sister of Edgar. Casey, 103, 139 Casey, Ola, sister of Edgar Casey, 103, 139 Casey, Sarah, sister of Edgar Casey, 103, 139 Casey, Thomas Jefferson, grand father of Edgar Casey, 7, 31, 33 to 34, 60 to 61 Casey, Mrs. Thomas Jefferson. Grandmother of Edgar Casey, 39, 56 to 62 Chicago Examiner, 190. Christian Church, 17, 42, 132, 139, 204 to 205, 232. Christian Endeavor, 132, 209, 232. Christianity, 102, 240, 242 to 243, 260, 351 to 353, 361 to 362, 373 to 374. Clairvoyance, see psychic power. Clarawater, 137, 145. Common cold, 287. Cures, see readings data, Joe, 131. Davis, Andrew Jackson, 337 to 341. Davis, Gladys, 234, 255 to 258, 270, 275, 277, 322 to 325, 331. Dayton, Ohio, 255 to 270. Delaney, W.L., 212. Dietrich, Aim, 9, 14 to 17, 20, 30, 133. 135 Dietrich, C.H., father of Aim, 133. 4 General debilitation, 435, 441. 4 Intestinal fever, 396, 398. 4 Scleroderma, 422 to 423, 426. 4 Tuberculosis, 194. Duke, Ethel, 78 to 79, 81, 83. Duke University, 342 for eye injury, 446. 4 General debilitation, 434 to 436, 439 Field, Roswell, 190 Gay, Drive S. 205 to 207, 211 to 212. Geiger, MD, 57. General debilitation, 431 to 442. Giraro, William, 118, 120. Glands, 244, 334 to 335, 411. Grape juice, 402 to 404. Grape poultices, 287, 396 to 399, 401. 402, 405 Haggard, Drive WH, 165 to 167. Hawkins, Reverend John T., 42. Hay fever, 287 Health Home Remedies, 343 to 344. Hemorrhoids, 287, 344. Hernia, 300. High blood pressure, 300. Holland, Bob, 131, 139. Homeopathy, 171, 176, 189, 301. Hopkinville, Kentucky, 1 to 104, 111. 129, 133 to 135, 139. Description of 75 to 76. Hopper, Harry, 77. Hopper, W.M., 42, 76. Hospital, 280 to 282, 313 to 317. Dedication of 282 to 286. Plans for 216 to 217, 223, 228, 230, 267. Manager of hospital, 282 to 283. House, Thomas Burr, Jr., 207, 224. 225, 228 to 231, 279. Birth, 167. Hudson, Thompson J., 154 to 161. Infantile paralysis, 188 to 290. Intestinal fevers, 287, 395 to 405. Investigations, 2 to 31, 157 to 161, 171. 174, 279, 342. Jackson, Dr. J.B., 167 to 168, 192 to 195. Jones, Mrs. Ella Casey, 40. Kahn, David, 213 to 217, 226, 268, 277, 318, 320, 346, 348. Karma, Law of, 261, 345, 375 to 376. Ketchum, Wesley H., 5, 20 to 21, 26, 170 to 174, 176, 178 to 180, 185 to 187, 194, 198 to 200 for intestinal fever, 396 to 398, 401, 402. For scleroderma, 422 to 423, 426. Medicines, 20, 126, 145 to 146, 168, 210, 287 to 290, 298 to 302, 343 to 344. For arthritis, 294 to 295, 298, 413. For eye injury, 446. For general debilitation, 434, 436. 437. For scleroderma, 427. For tuberculosis, 193 to 194. Meredith, Dr. George, 135. Metaphysics, Sea Life Readings and Philosophy Moody, Dwight L., 70 to 75. Morton, J.P. and Company, 105. 106, 111 Meinsterberg, Dr. Hugo, 2 to 31, 199. Murphy, Dr. Gardner, 342 New Tomorrow Carrot the, 309. New York Times, 4, 10 to 11. New, Albert D., 10, 180, 185 to 186 Peachtree poultices, 168 to 169. Philosophy of Edgar Cayce, 351. 353. 361 to 382. Medic Carrot 291 to 299. See also Life Readings. Physiotherapy, 288. See also Hydrotherapy, Electrical. Treatments, Massage. Potter, Frank J., 149, 150 to 152, 164. Potter, L.D., 129 to 130. Poultices, Grape, 287, 396 to 399, 401. 402, 405 Peachtree, 168 to 169. Potato, 298 Putnam, F.O., 136. Puisega, Marquista, 154 to 155. Pyorrhea, 287, 344. Readings, annual number of 350. Consistency of 346 to 347. First physical, 121 to 123. Life, 234 to 248, 257, 262 to 269, 273, 277 to 279, 315, 326, 348. Medical philosophy of 291 to 299. On aphonia, 121 to 123. On appendicitis, 171 to 174, 207, 211, 287, 290. On Edgar Cayce, 121 to 123, 151. 153, 207 to 208, 269, 352 to 353, 359. On eye injuries, 202 to 207, 298, 446. On infantile paralysis, 290. On oil drillings, 220 to 223. On psychic power, 263 to 264, 330, 335, 342 to 343. On sex of unborn children, 159. On tuberculosis, 192 to 197. Pattern of 5, 26 to 29, 273, 332 to 334. Physical, 124 to 127, 141, 147 to 148, 157 to 158, 166 to 168, 182 to 184, 187, 209 to 211, 216, 227 to 228, 275, 290 to 292, 297 to 303, 308, 347 to 348, 383 to 385. Religion of Edgar Cayce, 351. 353, 361 to 382. Religions, 102, 240 to 243, 258, 350, 352, 361. Mystery, 361 to 363. Of association members, 350. Rhine, Dr. J.B. 342. Ringel, Cecil, 221 to 223. Roop, Judge, 140 to 141, 143. Rubs, Sea Massage. Ryan, Thomas J., 328. Salter, Hiram, 83, 139. Salter, Sam, 80, 93. Salter, William, 83, 92 to 93, 139. Salt Packs, 299, 302. Sand Packs, 288. Sarcoma, 299. Scleroderma, 420 to 430. Sergeant, Dr. A. 193 to 194. Selma, Alabama, 202 to 216, 232 to 236. Schroyer, Lyndon, 236, 240, 245. Smith, Harry, 139, 193. Smith, Kate Salter, 3, 12, 80, 83, OI. OS, 98, 108, 139, 224, 228 to 229. Smith, Porter, 80, 83, 93, 139. Smith, Raymond, 80, 83, 93, 139. Smith, Stella, 80, 83, 93, 99, 108, 110, 139. Southern School of Osteopathy, 144, 146 to 148. Telepathy, 342 to 343. See also Psychic Power. Tom, B.F., 51. Tonsils, 209. Van Patten, F.A., 277. Victor, 341. Virginia Beach, Virginia, 223, 228, 230, 267 to 268, 271 to 272, 288. Attitude of residents toward Ed. Gar Casey, 357. Edgar Cayce's life at 271 to 322, 326 to 359. Warner, Dr. Lucian H., 342. Washington and Lee University, 274 to 281. Wyrick, Madison Byron, 267 to 277. YMCA, 131 to 182, 135.